The Batman Arkham series is used as a standard for superhero games, a series that means a lot to many, including myself. It's by far my favorite series in the world and is what made me fall in love with Batman. The series started almost 15 years ago and each game still holds up really well. One of my favorite things about these games are how they feel so comic booky. I feel like too much modern superhero media, especially Batman media, tries too hard to be realistic. I think being realistic can be good and interesting, but at the end of the day, to me, the best Batman media is the kind that has a more fantastical element to it. The one that's not afraid to tell a darker story it wants to tell, but also isn't scared to have something more fantastical like Solomon Grundy or Man-Bat. These games do exactly that, and I love it. Not to mention, the characters feel pulled right out of the comics, and most of them have great designs. All of Batman's main canonical suits are, in my opinion, 10 out of 10s, and designs for other characters like Joker and Catwoman are also great. With that being said, there are still a few designs that I think are good with some little problems, or some designs I'm not even really a fan of at all. For example, Harley Quinn's Arkham Asylum design is good, but her bright blonde hair is not really my favorite. Whereas unless it's Arkham Origins Bane, I do not like its design much at all. I also love how many characters they were able to add in these stories and do most of them justice. For example, Killer Croc, Mad Hatter, Professor Pig, and Azrael are all characters who have smaller stuff, but are nonetheless awesome in their own right. I also think having Oracle and Alfred communicate with Batman throughout these games makes the series feel more alive and like it actually does take place in a fleshed out Batman universe with a ton of characters, whether they be known or niche. With all that being said, let's move on to Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum is the game with the best atmosphere. It feels almost horror at times. There is this eerie feeling that can make exploring Arkham Island pretty creepy, especially as you progress the game and the halls become almost completely empty as you roam them trying to complete your objective. One of the times that I thought felt more horror-esque is when you go back to the intensive treatment in the later half of the game. You enter the building, and it feels run down. It's silent. Too silent. You go into the next room to find Joker has 7 goons there to try and stop you. You take them out, then proceed further into the building until you get to the cell block transfer. You hear no music, just ambiance. You start to walk down this empty, almost endless feeling hall, with the feeling that something is not right. Then the only thing to break the silence is that fateful Arkham alarm, followed by the line that I'm sure you remember. Did anyone catch that game last night? You notice Batman starts to cough as you near the end of the hall. Then the game freezes, and suddenly the intro of the game replays. But it's different. You're playing as the Joker now. It's a great segment that I personally believe is one of the most memorable parts of the game. While on the subject of more horror-esque stuff, I wanted to mention the Schizo Arkham inmates. They, to me, are some of the most terrifying enemies in any game. They scared me very bad when I was a kid. The voice acting from the cast is great, with Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy being phenomenal as always. The story, while not super complex, is great. Even though the Joker infused with Titan is controversial, I think the storyline with the Titan was a very interesting and refreshing new way to tell a Batman story. And it also leads to what is one of the most beloved Batman stories ever with Batman Arkham City. I think the story overall is well paced and well written. I also wanted to mention that I found it very funny how Batman chases Joker through the whole asylum doing a ton of detective work, fights a ton of goons, fights a ton of Titan-infused goons, runs into some of his biggest villains, gets fear toxin put in him multiple times. Then, when he enters the penitentiary, takes a bomb at almost point-blank range, walks into the next room just to find Joker sitting on top of a pile of mannequin bodies with human skulls on it. Batman then takes a Titan-infused dart to save Jim Gordon, which he resists transformation of, just for Joker to then shoot himself with the Titan, 1v1 Batman, just for Batman to what I assume is break his whole hand, taking out the Joker. Then, on top of his broken hand and all the BS he's went through, Two-Face robs a second national bank. Like, bro, give him a break! He did this all in one night, by the way, which is just so funny to me, considering this is the same Batman who gets beat by 4 goon-level villains and watches a gun get pointed at him and just dies. Yeah, that's for a different video. To wrap up the Arkham Asylum section, I wanted to talk a little bit about gameplay. The traversal is just meh. The combat and stealth in this game, while not the best in the series, is still enjoyable. It may be more simple, a little janky, and you don't have all the same tools at your disposal as you get in later entries, but it's still fun, and it works, especially with it being the first installment. With all that being said, let's move on to Batman Arkham City. Arkham City, a phenomenal game. Going from Asylum to City is pretty jarring. Having the whole city to explore was just so unbelievable to me. Not to mention this game does such a good job at making the city feel run down. There's garbage everywhere, parts of the city are flooded, goons around every corner committing crimes, and then there's just you, Batman, in the middle of the city, all alone. The game's environment is amazing. The acting in this game is also amazing. But I specifically wanted to mention that Mark Hamill's sick Joker is just so good. He does such a good job at being sick that it's uncanny. And the story, man, oh man, is it great. A few of my favorite things from this game that I think are really unique are the sick Batman and Joker, Hugo Strange being a straight menace revealing Batman's identity, Ra's al Ghul being put perfectly into the story as the secret funder of Hugo's downright diabolical plan, Protocol 10, Mr. Freeze's boss fight, and the power struggle between all the villains in the city. All this combines together to make a grade A story. I wanted to talk about Hugo Strange and the whole sick Joker a bit more, but first I'm going to start with Hugo Strange. Before I played this game, I had no idea who Hugo Strange was. I remember being so confused when I saw him for the first time in the beginning of the game. Then when he revealed he knew Batman was Bruce Wayne, I immediately got beef with him. I did not care who he was anymore. I just wanted to lay my hammers of justice into his silly, laughable, goofy, humorous, ludicrous, bald head. I also mentioned that he has an actual diabolical plan, Protocol 10. It's such a comically evil plan. He gets the mayor of Gotham at the time, Quincy Sharp, to wall off a pretty bad part of the city and turn it into a prison for all the criminals. He then has the government of Gotham make a protocol for emergencies that only gets activated if the people within the city prison get dangerous weapons that may threaten a prison break or harm to Gotham. He then captures Bruce Wayne knowing it's Batman, threatens to reveal his identity, and then puts him inside the city. He then secretly gives the villains dangerous weapons so he can have a reason to start Protocol 10 to cleanse Gotham. It's insane. Bro is straight up one of the most devious, diabolical, comically evil people around. Now, let's talk about sick Joker a little bit. I feel like even if you didn't like the ending of Arkham Asylum, you came to terms with it because Titan Joker was definitely worth it to get this really good story with sick Joker. First off, the fact that they teased multiple times throughout the game that there's actually two Jokers, just for one of them to be Clayface, was such a good reveal. I also loved how Joker got Batman infected with his blood, basically forcing Batman into working with him to get a cure. Just for the ending that shocked me, and I assume many to their cores. After everything Batman goes through, he finally gets the cure, takes some of it, and for once hesitates to save Joker. Joker, getting antsy, jumps and stabs Batman in the shoulder, causing Batman to drop the cure, breaking it. Joker falls to the ground sitting upwards. Batman looks at him and says, "Do you want to know something funny? Even after everything you've done, I would have saved you." Joker, looking up at Batman, starts to laugh, and as he slowly lowers his body, with his last breaths, he says, "That actually is pretty funny." And he dies, with a smile on his face. The music is somber and slow, as Batman looks at his greatest nemesis that lies dead in front of him. A masterpiece. I also wanted to bring up how creepy the Mad Hatter and Zsasz side missions are. That one part where Batman is ripping off the rabbit mask actually gave me nightmares. Zsasz, on the other hand, was creepy because when you're just traveling through this rundown, disgusting city, and suddenly you hear a phone ring, you go to it out of curiosity. Who could be possibly calling on some random telephone in the city? Then a literal psychopath starts talking about his little piggies. Ain't no way. Until a few years ago, I would literally completely avoid his phone calls. Now to wrap up the Arkham City section, let's talk a little bit about gameplay. Traversal in this game is pretty good. It's a major improvement over Asylum's, especially with the addition of dive bombing. It makes the traversal way more fun. But I don't think the traversal fully becomes super fun until you complete all the Wayne Tech side missions and get the grapple hook that boosts you in the air. Combat itself is an insane upgrade from the previous game. It's faster, there's more gadgets to use mid-free flow, it's more accurate, more moves, overall a better experience. Same goes with the Predator sections. They also added new enemies to both normal combat and Predator sections. I like these new enemies because it makes you change up your playstyle quite a bit in a really fun and refreshing way. The game is basically better than Arkham Asylum in every way. A great game that holds up to this day. With all that being said, let's move on to Arkham Origins. This game is great. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, the gameplay, traversal, and open world are mostly the same from City. Even so, there are still great new additions like the electric gloves. I don't know if it was just me, but I loved seeing Arkham City actually intact and a part of Gotham in this game. Although the snowstorm did make the city feel less lived in, this Christmas feel of the story in Gotham was just so great. Not to mention Joker's theme being a twisted version of Carol of the Bells is one of my favorite things ever. It's so menacing for no reason. The younger, more brash Batman is also awesome. Him constantly making little mistakes like choking out the Santa hat guy when interrogating him is so cool to see. This game also manages to easily have the best boss fights in the whole series. Deathstroke alone beats every other boss in the Arkham series besides maybe Mr. Freeze, depending on who you ask. Deathstroke not only introduces himself in one of the coolest ways ever, but his boss fight is so good. It's the only boss in the series that is just a direct, evenly matched 1v1, and it's perfect. I also love how this game casually drops one of the best scenes between Alfred and Batman.
Master Bruce, stop! Master Bruce! Bruce, I will not in good conscience allow you to go. You're outmatched by these assassins.
What?
You're not some hardened vigilante. You're a young man with a trust fund and too much anger. You're in over your head, and I don't want this to be your end.
Alfred, who do you see when you look at me? The boy whose shoes you used to tie every morning? The teenager you drove to his first date? While you are here every night, I am out there. The only thing between the innocent and the predator.
Be.
No, not may be. I am. When the mugger or the thief stops to think twice, that is fear. That is what I am. That is why they hired assassins, because I am the reason the criminals breathe easier when the sun rises. So no, Alfred, I am not in over my head. Tonight will not be my end, but it will be theirs.
Such a great scene. It's just so interesting seeing Alfred worried about Batman, and a Batman who doesn't yet know his limits, and is kind of rebellious towards old wise and mystical Alfred. The story itself is great. Batman being hunted down by 8 assassins, and him managing to take them all out in one night is crazy. Just for him to lose to 4 goon level villains. Anyways, all of the villains in the main story are done in such an awesome way, besides him. Since I already mentioned Deathstroke, I wanted to talk a bit about Bane here. Bane is so well done in this game because for once, he's not a big idiot. I love that he figures out Batman's identity, showing how smart Bane really is. The ending of this game is also so well done because I love how Bane and Joker put Batman in a lose-lose situation just for Batman to win. Like bro had to either kill Bane to save Joker or let Bane live, which in turn would charge the electric chair, killing Joker. Funny part is, Batman quote-unquote kills Bane just to bring him back to life. Then you proceed to fight one of the scariest bosses in the whole Arkham series. I do really like how because of the final Bane fight, we finally get a lore explanation on why Bane is so big, bulky, and dumb in Asylum and City. Now, I think it's a good time to talk a tiny bit about Joker. I will forever die on the hill that the reveal of Black Mask actually being Joker was so well done. I also love how Joker in this game doesn't get his obsession for Batman until the end, so we get to see a Joker that just straight up hates Batman. I also want to give a slight mention to the DLC in this game, because for me, it's the best in the whole series. It's a 2-hour DLC where Batman gets an absolute drippy set of bat armor to fight Mr. Freeze in. It's a really well done origin story for Mr. Freeze, and I thought the mechanic with the heated bat suit was just so cool. I also wanted to mention that Roger Craig Smith and Troy Baker did a magnificent job with their portrayals as Batman and Joker. I hope to see them again in future projects. Overall, although this game reuses a lot of stuff from Arkham City, I still think the game is great and needs to be ported to modern consoles. Batman Arkham Knight. I love this game. It's not only my favorite game in the series, but it's my favorite video game in the whole world. I know me just saying that just made half the community explode with rage and anger. But the Batmobile's overused. Arkham Knight reveal was trash. They shoehorned Joker in. Calm down, ladies and germs. Lock in your seatbelts, because this is going to be one heck of a ride. Let me convince you on how Batman Arkham Knight is actually a great game. First off, it's easily one of the best looking games in the whole series. I would even say it's one of the best looking games in the world. I mean, just look at this video. The rain dripping off the batsuit as he overlooks the city is just perfect. Not to mention, the traversal is easily the best in this game. The Batmobile is so fun to drive around in, but if you happen to just straight up hate the Batmobile that much, you have gliding at its peak, with the grapple boost being insanely fun to get you around the city at crazy fast speeds. The combat, on the other hand, I don't know how to properly explain, but it just feels better. It's super smooth, responsive, satisfying, and best of all, it makes you feel like Batman. The combat gives you access to even more moves and upgrades than ever before, with gadgets feeling unique and special to deal with each different type of enemy. The Predator sections have stuff like the grates on the walls or the new addition of the voice synthesizer, which is really fun to use. Now, onto the Batmobile. I bet you won't be too surprised about what I'm going to say here, considering I've glazed this game up a storm every second I've talked about it so far, but I actually do love the Batmobile. Now don't get me wrong, I do think it's a tiny bit overused, being put in a little too many sections, but overall nothing that ruins the game for me. I do hate the Deathstroke boss battle though. Not only am I pretty sure that it's a reused boss battle that isn't even that good, but Batman straight up one-hits Deathstroke for some reason, when they easily could have had a really cool transition into a hand-to-hand rematch of the century. I do love doing stealth with the Batmobile. Other than that, I was actually happy that I could finally use the Batmobile that I and the community begged for years to get, just for the same parts of the community that asked for the Batmobile to hate on it. In all seriousness, the driving is, in my opinion, quite literally perfect. And I don't care if this is a hot take or not, but the actual tank combat is fun. To this day I enjoy it, and I replay the game at least once a year. The voice acting is also S tier in this game, especially from Kevin Conroy. I think this is one of Kevin Conroy's best performances because he was given so many opportunities in a single script to show Batman's different emotions, and had a perfect delivery with them. The side missions in Arkham Knight are also the best in the series. They have the most story out of all of them and are overall really interesting and unique. Not to mention the most wanted DLC, which includes 4 S tier side missions. Before I move on from the side missions, I have to bring him up. You know who. He looks like he pops a case of beer, gets extremely drunk, and then beats his wife and 2 kids. Look at him. I was already pretty sick of him by this game and always thought he was the most annoying yapper in the universe, but I swear this game brings it to a new level. I don't know if I'm insane or not because I beat the game so many times, but I swear bro literally never shuts up in this game. And he's so annoying about it. I could quite literally be in the middle of solving his riddles and he will go over the intercom and be like, "You haven't completed all 5,000 of my riddles? What are you, dumb, stupid Dark Knight? I'm smarter than you." Like, bro, why? I hate him so much. Sorry. I'll go on to the story now. This story is great. Batman is written phenomenally, per usual from Rocksteady. This game has great supporting characters that enrich the story and great villains to top it off. I wanted to cover the story section by mainly addressing a lot of people's beef with the game and explain why it's actually well written and some of y'all are just silly. First thing I should probably discuss is the return of someone with many names, some being Jinkleberry Finn, the Joker, the Jointler, the Giggler, the Jester, the Jonkler, or even my personal favorite, the Joker. Joker being in this game and being complained about is just silly to me. I feel like the people who complain about it just want something to complain about. The main reason why I feel like this is because anyone that has played all the Arkham games leading up to Knight knows that these games are really about Joker and Batman's relationship, so I don't fully understand why it angers people as much as it does. Like, I understand not wanting Joker in everything, but I feel like after playing these games, you should know how important Joker is to these stories. Not to mention, Joker can actually be genuinely funny randomly throughout the game. Another complaint I see sometimes that I wanted to address is why does Batman see Joker when he gets hit by the fear gas and not his friends dying or something? I think the main explanation for this is that by this point in the universe, Batman isn't really scared of anything other than losing those close to him and becoming Joker. Remember, Batman has those people infected by Joker's blood in the movie studios, and he can see how they are becoming Joker slowly. This starts to build a fear that he may have the same outcome as these people. The fear is warranted because we have to remember that Batman cured the Titan infecting his blood, but he still has Joker's blood in him. Batman knowing that and seeing the Joker as people definitely made a what-if fear in his head. That's why each time the fear gas hits him, Batman starts to see vivid hallucinations of Joker, and Joker starts taking control of his body throughout the game, just as Batman feared. But by the end of the game, Batman realizes it's just a fear and locks it away. But the reason why he sees Joker moreover as other great fear of losing those close to him is because the Joker fear is a very real active fear that he is constantly fighting with. His other fear doesn't activate right away because no one was in danger. He knew everyone was safe until Barbara got captured and his fear of losing someone activated, making him think Barbara straight up offed herself. The final complaint I would like to address is the Arkham Knight himself. I think to this day that the Arkham Knight is a great character and was well done. I find it super interesting that the Arkham Knight is consistently trying to genuinely kill Batman, unlike Red Hood in most storylines. I love how he starts off bitter, upset, and an angry person trying to get revenge on Batman for abandoning him. But then, when he forgives Batman, and only then, he turns into Red Hood. Now, for the elephant in the room, the Arkham Knight's identity reveal. Yes, I think it was made a little too obvious who he was considering they straight up show Joker torturing Jason Todd in the movie studios, but I don't think that affects the genuine story much, if at all. Arkham Knight still serves his purpose perfectly as someone who knew everything about Batman, but Batman doesn't know anything about him. Us figuring out it's Jason doesn't change the fact that the Arkham Knight was awesome and still had a lot of great scenes. I will say that I think the Arkham Knight's boss could have been better. I would have liked to have some sort of hand-to-hand combat phase in his boss fight, but it is what it is, I guess. Overall, I love this game very much and it means a lot to me. I know it has flaws and has some things that people don't like, but that's okay to me, because I personally love the game. But that's just me. I think either way there's a valid reason to like each Arkham game. And at the end of the day, I'm just glad that most can agree that the Arkham games are great. With all that being said, let's move on to one of the final sections of the video, Batman. Batman to me is perfectly written in these games. Let me explain. In a base level, Batman is portrayed as a perfect human with no flaws. And yes, I do consider him perfect, but not in the traditional sense. People say since he's a superhero, he helps everyone he can, he donates millions of dollars to charity, he's insanely smart, he's in perfect shape, and that he's a great fighter, that makes him a perfect human. Yes, these are all great things for a human, but the thing is, Batman is still flawed, and is supposed to be, just as he is in the Arkham games. In Arkham Origins, at the end of the game, Batman thinks that he cannot save Gotham, that he's not enough.
It's not the time for doubt.
I can't do it. I can't stop them.
No, you can't. Not on your own. But it's high time you realize that you are a man, not an island. And a man's strength comes not from just brawn and intelligence, but also from his allies.
After this, he starts to work with the GCPD and eventually down the line gets more and more Bat family members. He overall opens up more after this story moment, but you may be thinking to yourself, he's still pretty closed off in Arkham Knight. Although he works with more people now, he constantly shuts down any actual help from Nightwing and Robin whenever all these villains are active in the city. You're right, but there's a good reason for that. His trauma. In between the time of Origins and Knight, he constantly loses people, which resparks that same trauma he got from when he was a child. By Arkham Asylum, Batman had lost Jason Todd, someone very close to him, so in turn he almost goes back to that closed-off one-man army of type of thought process, to not risk losing anyone else. He does still have Bat family doing stuff, but he always puts himself at risk before the Bat family, for the pure reason of not wanting to lose anyone else. You see them explore Batman dealing with loss and how it affects him in some sort of way time and time again in these games. I think I have two good examples to show off how deep-rooted Batman's trauma is. First being Arkham City. Batman almost decides to save Talia instead of the city during Protocol 10, until Oracle and Alfred convince him otherwise. Some may say that he was forced to save the city there, but I don't think that's necessarily true, because after Alfred gets done telling him that he will not boost Talia's signal because Batman must save Gotham, Alfred says, "Deep down you know I'm right," which Batman has no argument to and proceeds to save Gotham. The second example is from Arkham Knight, at the part where Batman locks up Tim to protect him, which actually ends up getting Tim captured. This is where it really set in for me how truly traumatized Batman is from his childhood, and how one of his only fears is losing those closest to him. But that's why I love these games, and I think the writing on Batman is perfect. It shows Batman multiple times trying to overcome his fear, but something happens that gets the better of him. But that is what's so great to me, because by the end of Arkham Knight, he finally overcame that fear. He realized that he doesn't need to push his family away to protect them, because they can protect themselves. I love these games' writings so much, because while Batman excels in a lot of ways, he also has his own problems, just as we do. But he doesn't stop fighting, he keeps pushing himself to do better, and to me, that's Batman. That is to me what a perfect human is, an imperfect one, but one that keeps trying, keeps fighting even when it seems impossible, keeps walking forward even though all he can see is darkness, just out of hope to see the light. That is Batman. I did want to talk a little bit about Kevin Conroy, so here it is. Kevin Conroy is very important to me and many Batman fans around the world. If it wasn't for the Arkham games and Kevin's performance, I would not have fallen in love with Batman as I did. I also don't think I would have gotten my passion for experiencing great story games as I have now. Although I never got to meet him, I know he was a great man, and he changed many lives. I miss him very much and hope that he knew how much we loved him before he passed. To me and many, he will always be vengeance. He will always be the Knight. He will always be Batman. Thank you, Kevin Conroy. Thank you so very much.
A friend once told me that criminals are a cowardly and superstitious lot. That the only way to beat them was to give them something to be scared of.
won't stop me once and for all! Going to win! Ready for the next round?
Always.
What?
I'll never let you win. Never.
You cannot win. I go straight, and you're successful. I have saved Gotham.
Who are you?
You really have no idea. Do you, Bruce?
Jason. But you're dead. Joker sent me the film. I saw him kill you.
Don't you dare lie to me! How long did you wait before replacing me, huh? A month? A week? I trusted you! And you just left me to die!
Nothing hurts like losing one of the family, knowing that there is no one to blame but yourself.
Barbara, it's me! Your friend.
You won't get me. You won't get me.
You will bring death to all who follow you.
Nature always wins.
something funny? Even after everything you've done, I would have saved you.
That actually is pretty funny.
You're Robin, Jason. You're not what he made you.
Stop! Stop talking to me! You did this to me.
I'm sorry.
Left me to rot in that abandoned wing of Arkham for over a year. With him.
It's not too late. We can fix this. Together. Alfred, I found Jason.
What the hell are you doing?
The right thing. Trust me.
Listen to me. We can help you. You don't need to do this. Alfred. Alfred. You son of a bitch. You cut my communications.
She's my family. My daughter. She's all I've got. I never should have trusted you. Never. Jim, there's something you need to know. Something's happened. No. Not her. Don't say it. Robert. He's dead. I'm sorry. Let me out. I can't. They're targeting everyone close to me. I won't let them get you as well. Please. I have to do this. No. Son of a bitch! How dare you! You don't get to decide! Get away from me! Go!
So, here's the part where you tell me off.
I'm proud of you, Dick.
Are you feeling okay?
This is the end. This is the last time we meet.
Don't talk like that. Alright, this won't stop you. Nothing stops you.
Keep Bloodhaven safe. Promise me.
It's okay, Bruce. I get it. You just don't want me hanging around, stealing the limelight.
Dick.
I won't let you down.
I know. It means this is the end, Selina. It means we can. I can.
I will see you again, right?
No one will. Gotham needs something more, something worse to defend her. She needs a new myth. A legend more powerful than I can be right now. A legend that can only rise from the ashes of the Batman.
Some things you can't do alone, Bruce.
And some things you have to. He's strong. He's going to be okay. Look after him, Jim. Look after them all. You've been a good friend.